Hello, wine friend. Welcome to the Wine Educate podcast. This is episode 35. I'm your host, Joanne Close. Last week, we discussed the top 5 most common mistakes for the tasting portion of the WSET Level 3 exam. And this time, we're going to be talking about the top 5 mistakes I see you all making in the theory portion of this exam. It's always the tasting that you worry about the most, but it is the essay portion that you should be most worried about. Like, use the word worry. You should be paying attention to it and you should be prepared for it. Let's put it that way. So I want to prepare you for it because it's not about knowing the material or not. A lot has to do with test-taking skills, knowing how to prepare, and knowing what they expect from you. So I'm going to go through some of these by just listing the top 5 mistakes I see you guys possibly doing. All right, mistake number 1, and that is not going into the exam with a strategy in place, a firm game plan of how you're going to tackle this exam. So you do your tasting portion, right? And then you take a break. So you do that, you fill out paperwork, you're done with it, you take a little break, you come and sit back down, and your instructor will hand out the paperwork for the theory portion of the exam. So this is the 50 multiple choice questions and the 4 essay questions. And if you haven't had a chance to really look at one of those and see how they're laid out, I'm sure there's some floating around in the internet ether, or we do talk about the way they're structured in our prep course, Launchpad. We will give you an example of that. It's really important to know what these essays look like before you do it for real in an exam setting, because you need to allocate your time, right? You've got those multiple choice questions, and you should really blow through those at a good pace. If you are humming and hawing over those and it takes you 45 minutes or so, and you only leave yourself about an hour and 15 minutes for the essays, that's really tight. I would like it if you could get through those multiple choice questions in no more than half an hour. And in order to do that, you've got to have nailed those down. So in the prep course, we give you the level 2 flashcards, right? Because you have to know all the level 2 material and the level 3 flashcards. So you could walk into that exam and the multiple choice won't slow you down. And you will have plenty of time to tackle those essay questions. All right, mistake number 2. And this goes for all tests, right? Misreading the question. The examiners are very specific in the information they want from you. So when you go and read that essay question, first read it, kind of let it sink in, and then read it again and pay attention to the action words like state, explain, identify, those sort of things. And because you can write on your paper, no problem, I would just circle them, right? So you can make sure you know exactly what they want from you and you can answer the question correctly. And mistake number 3 goes along with mistake number 2. We know you are smart and you know this information and you have lots of information to share, but don't overshare and don't write an essay question that gives so much information, too much information, more than they asked for, because you will not get points for this extra information and you are jeopardizing the time you have to write answers for the other questions. All right, let me give you an example of this. So say we're talking about ice wine production. And the question asks, explain the conditions in the vineyard in order to produce ice wine. And you think, oh, ice wine, yes. And I know everything about ice wine production. And you list the whole thing from the start, from the grapes freezing on the vine, to the harvesting, to the pressing. Beautiful. But that's not what they asked for. They just wanted to know what the conditions needed to be like in the vineyard in order for ice wine to be possible, right? And then if you look at the marks, maybe that was only a 3-mark question, and you just gave them a 9-mark question that was not what they asked for. So be very mindful of that, of giving the answer only what they were looking for and not just dumping out all your beautiful knowledge. We know you know the material, but we don't want you to run out of time for the other essays. Mistake number 4. If you have read your specification, if you have printed it out, put it in your binder, sleep with it under your pillow, all those wonderful things, you will know that one of those 4 questions on the exam is going to be on sparkling and or fortified, right? Do not sleep on this part of the syllabus. Make sure you understand your sparkling wine production methods, tank method and traditional method and all those things. Same thing with fortified, that you understand port and you understand sherry. Not only are these like really fun concepts to learn, you're definitely going to get asked on some of this. So you need 55% or higher to pass. And if one of these essays is sparkling and fortified, and that's worth 25% of your theory portion, the essay portion, that's a big deal. So make sure you know these concepts really well. All right, my final, number 5, final mistake I see you guys making that I don't want to see you making is not practicing writing these essays. We don't handwrite things much anymore. My handwriting is atrocious. I handwrote something the other day and I was like, what on earth did I just write? I can't even read it. No, it was just bad. The examiners assure us that they have seen it all, and I'm sure they do, because the only way you can submit these essays is you handwrite them, and they try their best to decipher handwriting, and that they had a student who's dyslexic, as I am, and was very concerned about being able to use a spelling device during the exam. And we're talking like, these are one of the first spelling devices that came out, not connected to the internet, really basic, but basically super helpful to me when I was in high school. And so I emailed the good folks at WSET to ask if he could use this device. And they said no, that's their policy. And he has not taken the course because he's just worried about being penalized for his spelling. Well, I can assure you, I passed diploma and my spelling is terrible, so I was not penalized for my spelling. However, writing things out by hand, you've got to get your hand back in shape, all right? And I see you in class with your laptop and you're clacking away, writing your essays on the computer. You need to put the computer away and you need to get out your notepad and your pencil and start practicing writing these essays by hand, because you will not be able to use your computer in the exam. And it's a lot of writing. I mean, say you blow through the multiple choice and you've got, a little over an hour and a half for the essays. That's an hour and a half of writing. When was the last time you did that? Probably a long time ago. So please get yourself in shape. Start writing these things out by hand, because also it's very different how we can edit an essay question on a computer versus laying out your thoughts and writing an essay question on the paper. And when I say that my level 3 students just destroy my pencils after the exam, you know when you erase a lot and you get those little I call them eraser boogers. There's eraser boogers everywhere. It is intense. So the erasers get destroyed, but you waste a lot of time erasing so much. So this is a biggie. And in the prep course Launchpad, we talk a lot about how to write your outline for these essays, which essays you do that for, which ones you can do the bullet points for, which ones you need to write full paragraphs for, all with keeping your time management in mind. All right, if you're interested in the next Launchpad Level 3 prep course, there will be a link in the show notes. If you're driving or something, you're like, Joanne, I never get to the show notes. Send me an email, joanne@wineeducate.com. And you guys can ask me anything. It doesn't have to be about the Launchpad or whatnot. I'm happy to help answering your WSET questions. All right. So next week, we're going to get into a topic that I address, oh my gosh, almost every time in class. And that is talking about testable versus non-testable wines. Don't panic. We are going to explain it all next time.